Okay, welcome to the Amador County Unified School District Board of Trustees meeting Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. We have emerged from closed session where we gave direction to administration. And now I'm going to move to 7.0, Pledge of Allegiance. Seth Tomzak.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Okay, 8.0, do we have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Not that I know of. Double checking with staff. Any corrections to the agenda? No, not tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to mindfulness moment. So I know this has become a bit of a joke, but in actuality, we know that we want our students to be whole people and grow up to have all the skills that they need to have a happy, successful life. And part of that is social emotional development, and learning how to handle stressful situations is important for all of us. So this is just a fun little exercise to get everyone in the mood for mindfulness. In this busy world of ours, the mind is constantly pulled from pillar to post, scattering our thoughts and emotions and leaving us feeling stressed, highly strung, and at times quite anxious. It's essential for our well-being to take a few moments each day to cultivate mental spaciousness and achieve a positive mind-body balance. So if you're a busy bee like me, you can use simple mindfulness exercises to empty your mind and find some much-needed calm amidst the madness of your hectic day. So we're going to start by just relaxing. You can close your eyes if you choose. Start by breathing in and out slowly. One breath cycle should last for approximately 6 seconds. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, letting your breath flow effortlessly in and out of your body. Let go of your thoughts. Let go of things you have to do later today or pending projects that need your attention. Simply let thoughts rise and fall of their own accord and be at one with your breath. With our mindfulness breathing, we also like to take a focus. So I would like to invite you to focus on mindful appreciation and choose 5 things in your day that usually go unappreciated. These things can be objects or people, it's up to you. Use a notepad to check off 5 by the end of the day. The point of this exercise is to simply give thanks and appreciate the seemingly insignificant things in life, the things that support our existence but rarely get a second thought amidst our desire for bigger and better things. For example, think about the electricity that powers your coffee pot, the mailman that delivers your mail, the clothes that provide you warmth, your nose that lets you smell the flowers, your ears that let you hear the birds. Do you know how these things came to exist or how they really work? Have you ever properly acknowledged how these things benefit your life and the lives of others? Have you ever thought about what life might be like without these things? Have you ever stopped to notice their finer, more intricate details? Have you ever sat down and thought about the relationships between these things and how together they play an interconnected role in the functioning of the earth? Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to 10.0, Governance Team Celebrations. And I will go down to Ms. Lauren Armstrong. Do you have something to share?
We have a great spotlight on schools today for Argonaut High School. So Yeah, and a side note, how our tennis team won a league yesterday and tied with Sonora. So that's also a celebration.
Hey, that's terrific. Janet, a celebration to share?
Not in relation to school or education, in relation to survival. I found out that I can still stay awake over 30 hours, although I don't function well after that. And yes, the pigs did arrive from Nebraska, and they are healthy and happy.
That's a good. Bob?
Yeah, I noticed or saw that one of the community colleges in the area distributed flyers to our high school students about the fact that community college is now free for the first year. They made it sound like it was unique to that college. So I kind of also want to celebrate the fact that it is supposed to be available at all California public community colleges starting this summer. There are a couple of districts that are struggling with implementing it, but all of the ones in our that you might commute to, I believe, are fully covered. So Folsom Lake College, Cosumnes River, American River, Sac City, Delta, Columbia, whatever one you want to go to, has a free tuition option. You have to go through a couple of hoops, but they're smaller hoops than most of the regular financial aid used to be, to get free community college for at least the first year, and a second year, as I understand it, is based on maintaining adequate grades. Kelly looks like she knows a lot about it and is kind of.
Thank you, Bob. Rosie?
Yes, I went to the Amador Somerville baseball game, and the boys were great, and they won. And I regret I missed the Amador Argonaut game, but next time.
Andy?
So I was able to sit part of really the interview for the assistant superintendent of curriculum, and that was a great experience and candidate for the job. So that was my celebration.
Terrific. And I had the opportunity to attend the Kindness Club at Jackson Elementary, and we read stories and sang songs. It was great fun. And I went to the Jackson Junior High Mardi Gras fundraiser, and that was also a lot of fun. So that was really great. All right. So I don't have any cards, but if you have a public comment and you would like to address the board on any item that is within the board's subject matter jurisdiction, you may complete a speaker card and give it to the board clerk. This part of the board's meeting is set aside for members of the public requesting to address the board general items which are not on the agenda, calendared for action, which are not first readings listed in the agenda and are not items previously referred to committee and not your return to the board for action. Speakers limited to 3 minutes. This agenda item will be limited to 20 minutes. Anyone whose name remains on the speakers list at the end of the allotted time will be granted at the end of the meeting. The board will not discuss or take action on any item introduced during this portion of the agenda, as this would constitute an illegal act on the part of the board. If you would like to speak to something on the agenda, you will be called at that time, but it works best if you fill out a card so we know you're there. Okay, presentations and recognitions. Item 12.1, Spotlight on Schools, Argonaut High School, Mr. Vicari.
Yes, thank you, Lauren, for introducing the Spotlight segment, but right now I'd like to introduce Principal Troy Gassaway, and he will kick off tonight's Spotlight presentation.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, Dr. Slavinsky, members of the board, community of Amador County. One more celebration. Tonight I just came from our senior social, and our senior parents and students together are sitting in our completed bleachers for the very first time, hearing the graduation requirements going down the stretch. Great work, you guys. Okay, tonight you're going to hear from and meet some of our resilient students. We have FCCLA Region 4 student officers, that's all of Northern California, Kristen Morrell, who is also our chapter vice president, and also you'll see from Jasmine Flores, FCCLA Region 4 vice president, but our chapter president. You're going to hear from student body officers, Junior Seth Tomzak, who has agreed to a baseball scholarship to Arizona State University. You're going to hear from Senior President Emily Green, who has 2 great offers to go to school for nursing, and one is she's leaning towards the University of Nevada, Reno. You're going to hear from somebody you guys know very well, our ASB President, Lauren Armstrong, who has committed to Cal Poly University. And then we have here tonight, for your viewing pleasure, something that's very coveted in the Argonaut world, and that is a sneak preview of our slideshow that we're going to show at graduation. Now, and that was produced by our students and Mr. Matt King, our video production teacher. Before the students, I'm going to briefly touch on some things that make Argonaut unique. You guys know this, but I'm going to briefly touch on them, and then I'm going to turn it over to our FCCLA Region 4 officers. Obviously, you know we have resilient students, and I don't need to tell you guys know about them. They have been around the world and back this year. We have leadership on our certificated staff. Twice a month, we sit in a circle and look across at each other, and we face challenges and that are at every high school and in every district, and we rise to those challenges for the benefit of our students, keeping students first and working hard to accomplish site goals. We have contributions of our classified staff happen every day, whether it's the bus drivers, the kitchen workers, the site maintenance crew, or our campus supervisors or our ancillary office staff. The contributions they make today, and I want to note today is Administrative Professionals Day, and we did have a celebration, a nice luncheon on our campus for them. We served them breakfast, we got them some Schwingles, gift certificates, and took good care of our people today. And we have support of the district office that I can pick up a phone anytime and call any one of our district office people, and they're available anytime, day or night, and I've exercised that a few times this year. And I want to note that every board member has been on our site and contributed to us this year, and I appreciate that. And it's noticed and appreciated that you've all been and visited us. So thank you for that. And to sum it all up, we also have great community and parent support. It's been evident all year. I've been overwhelmed as a new principal of the amount of parents and community members that have asked me, hey, Troy, what do you need? What can I do for you? What can we contribute? And you're going to see some of those contributions tonight from some local businesses that are helping us get going on our site, our scoreboard that's going in our stadium. And so when you sum it all up, what makes us unique? And it comes down to we're a Mustang family. And whether you're in the district office, whether you're on the board, whether you're a student, whether you're a community member, we're a Mustang family. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to our FCCLA Region 4 student officers.
We are the family, career, and community leaders of America. We face the future with warm courage and high hope. This is part of our creed. FCCLA builds leaders. So being Region 4 officers, we have 11 different counties under our belt, but Amador County is our home. This is where we are, and this is where we mainly run. So the first main event that we held here was the Region 4 fall meeting. And so we had students from all over Region 4, these 11 counties, to come to our school.
Mm-hmm. And it was a wonderful experience, and we had many students from Argonaut come, as well as many other areas. And we were able to host such a great fall meeting, and everyone had a blast, and I was glad to be there.
The next big meeting we had was the Region 4 spring meeting, and that was held at Cordova High School. At this area, we only brought one of our students due to transportation issues, but with that, we still had many competitors, and we had a lot of people contributing to that as well. And with the spring meeting, we've incorporated a lot of the ideas that we gathered from there to our school, and we built our chapter for FCCLA.
And hopefully in this upcoming year, we are able to incorporate more students to come and be welcomed into FCCLA.
So we began this organization last year with Miss Chef Rayanne Gadoni, and we've been in it since last year. Around this time last year, we were nominated to be these region officers, and we gladly took the positions. And so this year we're running for state. And so hopefully we have the community support on that as we make our journey forward in FCCLA. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, I got to add that Rayanne Gadani was scheduled to be here, but she stepped in for, at the last minute, she's down at the Anaheim FFA concert. She's having a good time. There was a concert. FFA convention down in Southern Cal. She's researching farm to fork. Okay, we have one more student that showed up tonight. I want to make sure I mention her name, Sophie Davis. She's going to be our next presenter. Sophie, come on up.
Hi, my name is Sophie Davis. I am the sophomore class president at Argonaut High School, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the accomplishments we've made this year so far. Starting with fundraising in the beginning of the year, we sold waters and worked at the Volleyball Snack Shack a lot and got a lot of contributors from our sophomore class to help out with that and fundraise for money for Winter Formal. Then we put on the actual Winter Formal dance, which we ended up having around 300 guests, which is a very big turnout for our small school of like 500 or so, and ended up making $3,000 after all the costs of decorations, DJ, renting the place. So very successful, so we were really happy about that. Right now we're focusing on booking prom for next year, so another big fundraiser for the junior class going into our senior class to help with the senior trip and etc. And we are also thinking of fundraising this year one more time and trying to have a yard sale or a car wash up in Argonaut, so anything like that.
Thank you. That's wonderful, Sophie. Good job.
Hello, everybody. I am Seth Tomzak, the junior class president. Couple accomplishments for me, myself, and Argonaut High School was Argonaut basketball team winning the NorCal State Championship. Also coming in second in the state.
That's fantastic.
A couple accomplishments for the junior class. Well, we've been fundraising throughout the year to make this year's prom the greatest since years to come. And the way we've been fundraising has been, we've been fundraising by making shirts and selling them. We sold seat cushions at the beginning of the year, trying to scrap up as much money as possible. We also recycled bottles and cans from our school. Dirty work, but any way you can get money. And for prom, we've sold 196 tickets, and that reached our goal. So we're good for next year for being seniors. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you.
That's great, Seth. Good job.
All right, I'm Emily Green, and I am the senior class president. Starting as a freshman, I didn't realize what accomplishments this class and student body could achieve together. Starting with sports. Since my class has been in this school, we have been a part of 4 section titles, including girls and boys basketball, girls soccer, and softball. Our cheer squad has performed in different bowl games in San Diego and Florida. We have traveled to Ventura, UOP, and Golden One to support our teams. Our class is the first in a long time to bring back painted parking spots and was successful with the money raised from it. This year for graduation, we have put in a little more planning than usual. Not only are we having a fireworks show, but also taking a moment to remember a fellow classmate we lost at the beginning of our junior year. Being a part of this class has been an honor, and I couldn't have asked for a better 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Hi, everybody.
So
Who are you?
I am Lauren Armstrong.
Oh,
Nice to meet you. So you've heard from some class officers from Argonaut High School and our FCCLA leaders. So now I will be giving you an overview of like things that are happening with Argonaut High School more structurally. But also last time I was here at a meeting we had, I mentioned how we had 2 students that like took on a video that they put into a statewide art competition, and they were in the final 14 out of the whole state, and they actually took first. So that was really exciting to hear, and a huge pat on the back for those girls as well as our whole school in general. And then a few things that we have going on. So our art program, which is like it's a really good art program, and they are right now making an art mural, and each letter of Argonaut High School has different aspects of the school painted on it, similar to the one at the firehouse in Jackson. And we're also doing paint the doors, so each door at like a teacher's door is going to have a type of mural painted on it that the teacher would like. And we also are having another mural, which is going to say Courage to Compete, and it was donated by last year's senior class of 2017. And those are some different things that you'll be able to see on campus, as well as, like Mr. Gasaway said, we have the bleachers that were put in that are being used tonight for our senior social. And then our track is being worked on. Our video scoreboard was ordered, and it's going to be coming in. And our library is being remodeled. The foods room is being remodeled. And we have friendship benches that are coming, which is like a memorial site for anyone who has perished that was an alumni of Argonaut High School or a supporter of our school, and as well as the benches that would be like a memorial, as well as different bricks that people can buy that are going to be like in front of the one of the murals that are being made. We have our link crew that I've spoken about. That is the 8th grade to freshman year transition program where the upperclassmen help, which this is the 5th year, and we've already noticed like a huge difference with the freshman involvement with this program being in place. And our video production class is our announcements each morning, and they're going to be able to utilize the video scoreboard. And we are going to show you a video that they made that will be playing right now. Thank you.
Hey.
I've been chasing a road to glory, driven since I was a child. Sweat and tears fall to push me forward. Pride and fear fuel the fire. They tell you life is a game, but it ain't a game to me. The lights are calling my name. Yeah, I got the energy to put it all on the line. I'm feeling larger than life. If you knock me down, I'll get up again. I'll get up again. Born unstoppable. I'll get up again. Now I'm stronger than I ever been. Stronger than I ever been. Stronger than I ever been. I keep racing against my shadow, drawing closer to the line. My heart beats for the golden medal, harder than anyone could fight. They tell you life is a game, but it ain't a game to me. All the lights are calling my name. Yeah, I got the energy to put it all on the line. I'm feeling larger than life. If you knock me down, I'll get up again. I'll get up again. Born unstoppable. I'll get up again. Now I'm stronger.
there's one thing to be taught, is dreams are made to be caught, and friends can never be bought. Doesn't matter how long it's been, I know you'll always jump in, 'cause we don't know how to quit. Let's start a riot tonight, a pack of lions tonight. In this world, he who stops won't get anything he wants. Play like the top 1% till nothing's left to be spent. Take it all, ours to take, celebrate, because we are the champions, setting it off again. Oh, we on fire, we on fire, running our own campaign, doing the whole shebang. Oh, we on fire, we on fire. Get up, stand up, throw your hands up. Welcome to the other land of dreamers, brothers, sisters, others. Yeah, we all fight like that. Oh, the bond is deeper than skin. The kind of club that we're in, the kind of love that we give. Whoa, ever since the dawn of mankind, we all belong to a tribe. It's good to know this one's mine. Let's start a riot tonight, a pack of lions tonight. In this world, he who stops won't get anything he wants. Play like the top 1% till nothing's left to be spent. We don't care, we won't stop. Call your mothers, call the cops. We are the champions, setting it off again. Oh, we on fire, we on fire, running our own campaign, doing the whole shebang. Oh, we on fire, we on fire. Get up, stand up, throw your hands up. Welcome to the other land of dreamers, brothers, sisters, others. Yeah, we all fight like that. Ooh. And nothing's gonna be the same. Oh, we're the champions, setting it off again. Oh, we on fire, we on fire, running our own campaign, doing the whole shebang. Oh, we on fire, we on fire. The bigger the body, the harder they fall. Hey, and nothing's gonna be the same.
They've been around the world and back this year. Three words, you guys. You know, they're respectful, responsible, resilient. Argonaut students are achievers. Thanks for making us your spotlight tonight.
Thank you very much, Principal Gassaway. And go Mustangs. Yeah. All right, 12.2 Block A presentation, Mr. Vicari.
Thank you, President Susan and School Board. Tonight we have 3 recipients here to receive their Block A's for community service. First, I would like to ask Raymond Ross from Amador High School to come on up. We'll face the board tonight. Raymond, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Raymond has worked 190.5 hours. He filmed 18 basketball games, worked at the California State Capitol for the 48th Annual Native American Day, lunch server at the Camp Out for Cancer participant, Team 24. United Personal Care event, helped with setup, tear down, and serve food. Also participates in the Nerds Youth Conference 2018. Also worked with the ARC of Amador County cleanup for fundraising. So tonight I have a certificate for you, Raymond, and also your community service aid. Congratulations. All right. Victoria Stidger. And I don't see your sister. Okay, well, you can just receive hers too then. Come on up. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. It's good to see you. Tonight, Victoria Stidger receives her certificate, Community Service, Block A, and your Service A for 141 hours of community service performed, which includes working at the California State Capitol for the 48th Annual Native American Day, Foothill Indian Leadership Training, Foothill Indian Education at Miwok Village during the Amador County Fair, setup of the village, helped with the Nerds booth at Chaussee during the spring dance, and served elders, escorted vendors, trash patrol, and parking, and planned the first dinner concert fundraiser for the 2018 Nerds Youth Conference. So congratulations. There you go. And here's your certificate and your A, and if you would stay here just for a second, I will briefly mention her sister. They were freshmen when I was at Argonaut, now seniors, correct?
Yes.
It's just amazing, you guys graduating this year. Stephanie worked 140.5 hours with the same events, cleaned up at the Miwok Village County Fair, leadership training and cultural awareness at Point Reyes and Yountville Powwow help, Chaussee Days booth, New Life Christian Center fundraising, setup, moving furniture, worked at Chaussee big time, cooking, serving, parking cars, trash, running the Nerds booth, and helped for youth gatherings for Native American students. Also served as a mentor to younger students. So here's to Stephanie. Tell her congratulations also. And thank you very much. We also have a letter here also. I think you have it on the back of yours. Oh, here it is right here. Oh, okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vicari, and wonderful students for all your volunteer work. And thank you, family members, of course. All right. Item 12.3, recognition resolution, California Day of the Teacher. Mr. Vicari.
Thank you, President Susan. This year's Day of the Teacher is Wednesday, May 9th, 2018, and the theme is the League of Extraordinary Educators. California's Day of the Teacher had its roots in the community and is patterned after the celebration of the traditional El Dia de Maestro, which is observed in Mexican and Latin American countries. The Day of the Teacher arose out of legislation co-sponsored by the California Teachers Association and the Association of Mexican American Educators in 1982. Since this time, this event honors the instructional excellence in our public schools, community colleges, universities, and it is annually recognized by the Amador County School District. So tonight we have a resolution for the Day of the Teachers, which I would like to read. Whereas California teachers have advocated for and currently provide the public education all students deserve, and whereas California teachers have long set the bar for innovation and creativity in their classrooms, and whereas by nature California teachers are proven leaders in bringing inventive practices and creativity into their classrooms every day, and whereas California teachers can't help but be influenced by the innovative, stimulating, and creative atmosphere that surrounds them, and whereas California teachers continually look to enhance science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, programs in their schools, whereas California has produced the thinkers, the scientists, the inventors, the technicians, and the engineers that have led our state to become the 8th largest economy in the world. And whereas California owes much of its success to its public schools, colleges, and universities that produce the scholars, thinkers, and educated workforce. And whereas California teachers, like their well-educated professional counterparts, continue to add to their own education by completing advanced degrees, coursework, and professional development throughout their careers. Whereas it is well known that California has led the country and the world in its contributions to innovative school improvement, and whereas California teachers strive to create an educational community that is inquiry-based, collaborative, and promotes creative thinking by providing teachers with the freedom and support to be great. Whereas this endeavor is itself an innovative approach that is changing school climate and culture where it is being practiced, and whereas the theme of the annual California Day of the Teacher on May 9th is the League of Extraordinary Educators. Now, therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Amador County Unified School District do here proclaim Wednesday, May 9th, 2018 as Day of the Teacher, and urge all citizens to observe this day by taking the time to remember and honor those who give the gift of knowledge through teaching. Tonight, Superintendent Slavinsky recommends approval of the Day of the Teacher, May 9th, by the Board of Trustees.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vicari.
Welcome.
Are there any questions or discussion? No? I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve the resolution for the Day of the Teacher.
Second.
Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Pass unanimously.
Thank you.
I just want to make a quick comment. I know that this is a super, super busy time out at our schools right now. We did invite teachers to come and be a part. We saw from the Argonaut folks that it's senior night, and so there's lots of activities. But we do have at least one teacher in the audience, and I just want to acknowledge, and if I'm missing anyone, please let me know, Julia Mandison, one of our executives with ACTA, Amador County Teachers Association, here representing all the rest of the teachers. Thank you for being here. We very much appreciate that and hope that you'll carry back the message about this very important resolution. Yeah, thank you.
I wonder if there's any way that the Ledger Dispatch could spotlight teachers on May 9th.
Perfect.
Is that a good idea? Okay, we're going to move right along to 12.4, Recognition Resolution, School Nurse Appreciation Day. Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, President Ross and board members. This also is a declaration of National School Nurse Day, also Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. School nurses optimize student health and learning every day of the year. On National School Nurse Day, we take special time to celebrate and recognize the contribution that school nurses are making to the health and learning of our nation's 50 million children. Students in Amador County and across the country are able to fully access their education because of the interventions and actions performed by school nurses. School nurses promote learning by supporting the health of our students. National School Nurse Day is always the Wednesday of National Nurse Week, and this year we celebrate National School Nurse Day on Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. So I will present the resolution at this time. Whereas children are the future, and by investing in them today, we're ensuring our world for tomorrow. And whereas all students have a right to have their health needs safely met while in the school setting. And whereas children today face more complex and life-threatening health problems requiring care in school. And whereas school nurses are professional public health nurses that advance the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievements of all students by serving on the front lines and providing a critical safety net for our district's most fragile children. And whereas school nurses act as a liaison to the school community, parents, and healthcare providers on behalf of children's health by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes for our district's children. And whereas school nurses support the health and educational success of children and youth by providing access to care when children's cognitive development is at its peak. And whereas school nurses are members of school-based mental health teams. And whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for children every day, therefore it be resolved that the Amador County Unified School District Board of Education encourages all district students and staff to observe May 9th, 2018 as National School Nurse Day, to acknowledge the accomplishments of school nurses and their efforts of meeting the needs of today's students by improving the delivery of health care in our schools, and to offer gratitude for school nurses who contribute to our local community by helping every student stay healthy in school and ready to learn in every classroom, in every subject, every day.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or discussion on this? We'll entertain a motion, please.
I move we approve the resolution or the declaration of National School Nurse Day.
And second, go for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Okay, unanimously passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have to chime in here one more time. Again, I know that Mr. Snyder invited nurses to be here, and due to everyone's really spring busy schedules, they weren't able to be here. And I just want to affirm the resolution and say how very much I appreciate Mr. Snyder's work, as well as Mitzi's work with our nurses to make sure that they get the support that they need. And thank you, Board, for approving this resolution. Our nurses do tremendous, very, very important work in our schools.
I agree, and I hope the Ledger Dispatch notices it's the same day as the Teacher Day. Okay. 13.0, consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
I'd like to make one comment.
Yes.
Since I see a couple of relevant people in the audience, I'd like to congratulate Sean Snyder on his promotion, and I'd like to congratulate Kelly Hunkins on her promotion that we approved at a previous meeting.
Yes, so I would say that's unanimous on the board, I'm sure. Thank you, Bob. That was very nice. Okay, so take the vote. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Passes unanimously. 14.0, discussion action items. 14.1, Amador County Unified School District Sunshine Proposal to Amador County Teachers Association for the 2018-19 school year successor agreement. Discussion action, Mr. Vicari.
Yes, that is correct, President Susan. Certain steps must be completed prior to opening negotiations. Tonight, we have the Sunshine Proposal from the Amador County Unified School District to the Amador County Teachers Association for the 2018-19 school year successor agreement. This is a two-part system. So tonight, we officially present our Sunshine at this meeting, and then part two, we would schedule a public hearing for the following meeting on May 9th, 2018 for the board to receive any public input regarding the proposal. So tonight you would accept the first stage of the proposal.
You're asking us to approve the Sunshine Proposal,
Correct.
the joint Sunshine Proposal, or whatever.
That is correct.
There are two separate, oh, yeah, okay, all right. So just 14.1, okay, terrific.
Okay.
Okay, I move we accept 14.1, the district Sunshine Proposal to ACTA.
I second it.
Have a quorum. Call for the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Part 2, 14.2, is the reverse. It is the Amador County Teachers Association Sunshine Proposal to the Amador County Unified School District for the 2018-19 school year for the successor agreement. So tonight, ACTA, their proposal is officially being presented at this meeting, and we are looking for approval of that with a schedule of a public meeting following to be held the next meeting on May 9th.
Okay. I move we approve the ACTA Sunshine Proposal to ACUSD.
I second it.
Discussions, questions? No? All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
With Bob temporarily absent. Okay. 14.3. BP 5030, Local School Wellness, discussion, first reading. Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, President Susan and board members. It's my pleasure to bring this policy for the first reading tonight after a culmination of a long period of work. I'll just give you a quick overview. Any local educational agency that participates in the National School Lunch Program or School Breakfast Program is required by federal law to establish a local school wellness policy for all schools in its jurisdiction. And the USDA final rule of 2016 kind of beefed up the requirements of those wellness policies. So it was my pleasure this year to chair a wellness committee with the task of completing the work of revising our policy. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the process, and then we'll go through the policy itself. The process consisted of engaging a wide variety of stakeholders from a wide range of community agencies, school representatives, parents. I actually have a list of everyone who participated. I'd like to just take a moment and read off the names of the people who contributed to this because it was a significant amount of work that went into this. We had Andriana Lewis from UC Cooperative Extension, who provided some great knowledge around nutrition services. Bonnie Gale, who is a parent. Connie Vacariza from Public Health. Dan Clement, teacher from Jackson Elementary. Dawn Leibold, school nurse. Dr. Kerr, our public health officer, participated. Hector Ochoa, again from UC Cooperative Extension. Jessica McCarty, secondary PE teacher. John Reardon, school nurse. Julia Sirk, our director of state preschools. Karen Erickson, school nurse. Kathleen Thornock, a library clerk, but was serving as a parent on the committee. Kelly Churchill, teacher. Margie Plant, our director of ELP. Michael Pingray was obviously very involved throughout the process, our food services director. Nina Machado from First Five, as well as many other hats that she wears in the community. Rianne Gadoni, teacher from Argonaut. Board member Oneto was part of the committee. Sherry Clark, teacher from Jackson Elementary. Sonia Fernandez from the Dairy Council was instrumental in helping us get started and giving us some direction in how to begin the work. Stephanie Hess from Behavioral Health was a wonderful addition toward the end in helping us with the social emotional component, and our board president Ross was also a participant. And so we started back in November, meeting from 3:30 until 5, and over the course of November through April conducted 10 meetings. And we started with a self-assessment, the school health index. So we kind of did an assessment of our community and our district and where we're at as far as, well, there were 12 different modules. So in 12 different areas, we self-assessed and determined where we were. The self-assessment helped us to identify areas of need in each of those 12 modules, which were, you're talking 12 modules, significant amounts of areas of need. So we took those, prioritized each module's areas of need, and then from the 12 modules, we arrived at some overall 5 priorities for our district as a whole. And it really kind of, the 5 rose to the top, and we were committed to making sure we encompassed 3 areas, nutrition and food services, physical activity, and social emotional wellness, which was a component that hadn't been included in our local school wellness policy until this point. So an extensive, long process, and I know the committee members share my sentiments of how proud we are at what we were able to arrive at. It's a meaningful plan that stakeholders in our school community will be able to really embrace and implement as we move forward. So next steps would be communication of these updates and then rolling out and implementing it as we roll into next school year. So just a couple quick highlights if you are able to have that in front of you in your board packet there. Page 26, and what we did was the parts in blue are the parts that have been added to the current policy. So we started with the kind of just the standard CSBA template and took that and added some pieces, and what we added is the blue text, and we struck out, we're removing some things, and that is the text that is struck out there. And most of the text that we removed, it was just simply because it was either redundant or worded in a different way in some of the blue text, so that was the reason for removing that. So the first part of the blue text on 26 and 27 is really just talking about the wellness committee itself, the role of it, the purpose of it, what we did. And then at the bottom of 27 is some new language around school meals, and that really gets into a little more specific, that USDA final rule. A big focus of our nutrition services department is around the smarter lunchroom movement, and Mike Pingree had already started implementing some of those things before we even got into this work, but that's kind of a national movement, smarter lunchrooms, making the food more appealing and attractive to the children so that we serve more meals and just making it more like a home-cooked meal and making it more appealing. So you can see all of that detailed along page 28. Page 29, we get into more of the nutrition education and where and how that happens in K through 12 classrooms. We talk about some curriculum. There's a lot of free materials out there from the Dairy Council, from UC Cooperative Extension, so they're readily willing to share those with us. Page 30 gets into more specifics in physical activity. And we kind of had breakout groups who wanted to specialize in certain areas, and so the physical activity group were all very interested and invested in physical activity, so they kind of took that piece. We had a social emotional wellness group who were all very knowledgeable and interested in that piece, so that's where the recommended language came from those each of the specific groups. And page 31 is the positive school climate and social emotional wellness component, and we knew probably from the first meeting, I think, that if we were going to have a student and staff wellness policy for our school district, it had to have the social emotional piece to it because of just this day and age and what we've been discussing throughout the course of the year. And as we looked up and down the state at many local school wellness policies for sample language, we discovered not many places had this. This is but we discovered many places are discussing it this year. So I would expect by next year you'll see a lot more of this in many people's plans. So we're pretty proud that we were able to compile this little piece on page 31 and add this into our plan. And it really just aligns with the strategic plan, aligns with our LCAP goal too. So we're just pleased to be able to align this policy with those two documents and pleased to be able to present it for this first reading. So at this time, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Okay. On page 30, on item 3, towards the bottom in blue, recommending that physical activity not be withheld from nor required of a student as a form of discipline. Why is that only a recommendation? It seems like that ought to be a full-out policy, that it not be used as a form of discipline either way.
Sure, that's a good point. I don't remember that specific discussion, but we certainly would not want it to be withheld from or required of a student as a form of discipline. We tried to keep the policy language somewhat neutral, but certainly can have further discussion around that. I can take that back to the group.
Yeah, I think using it, either withholding it as a punishment or as or requiring, the traditional, okay, you got to go run 20 laps because you misbehaved, makes physical activity associated with punishment and discourages it overall.
Certainly, yes. That's good feedback. Thank you.
I just wanted to commend you on the work that you guys did. Actually, as I was going through this, having been a part of the board policy reevaluation, Bob and I did super extensive for 2 days going through all the board policies, and we actually had the opportunity to look at what CSBA recommended and then kind of be able to make the changes on our board policy based on what we liked that they had, and kind of that was the process that we went through. So as I was going through this, I thought it was just so awesome. I was wondering if there was some kind of CSBA board policy that you guys were following, but it sounds like there wasn't. So you guys did a super great job.
We did. We were able to find some sample policy language, so that's partially true, yes. We pulled from a few different plans, but we really kind of crafted it. We pulled some sample language and then we made it ours. So there were some bits and pieces out there, so thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no, it's
that.
great.
Yes.
That question, I think what that says is recommending that physical activity not be withheld from, say that, from a student as a form of discipline, which would mean that student wouldn't have to sit out of PE because of discipline, or wouldn't be required to perform some kind of physical thing because of discipline. So I think it's kind of both ways there. That's the way I read it.
I think, yeah, I think Bob's point was that, or Board Member Laurent's point was, it shouldn't be recommending that. That should just be absolute. Is that, did I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I agree.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that Sean and Sonia they made sure they were there for everyone and had us in our groups and ideas, and they put a lot of research, and so did everyone else that showed up, and a lot of good ideas, and even researching other schools to see what it was kind of fun getting to know everyone's ideas, talking with everyone, and great opportunity to do this.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, it was a little bit of a tedious process. But
there was homework required in between meetings. Yeah. We used Google Forms and Google surveys for ranking. It was intense.
But Sean, I do have a question because maybe I missed this meeting. But what I want to know is, okay, so now we have this policy. How do you envision this rolling out? I mean, it says that there will be a committee that will meet 4 times a year, and it will serve as establish the goals and develop an implementation plan. So are you working on, whomever, working on that committee to get started so that we have sort of a go-ahead when school starts in the fall?
It's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Yes, so the committee, our committee, the Wellness Committee, will continue to meet, not as extensively as we did this year, 10 times in 5 months, but a minimum of 4 times per year. And we talked about the first piece was to bring the policy forward, and then we would work on the implementation plan or possibly an administrative regulation related to the policy that would more detail out the implementation of it. So I would see a next step if the board approves these revisions and this policy, then communicating it before the end of this year out to principals and have principals communicate it with staff, and then work on the implementation plan as we start next school year, yes.
That's fantastic. Part of it, which is recess before lunch, I mean, if that was to be implemented, people should know that, principals, so they could plan for next year, plan their scheduling. So that would be important to put to the head of the line.
Definitely, yes.
Okay, any more discussion, questions? I move that we approve the local school wellness policy first reading.
I second it.
Any more discussion? Bob?
Technicality, I think the appropriate.
Oh, thank you very much. I declare BP 5030, Local School Wellness Policy First Reading, a success.
I second it.
Okay, we take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. And just a quick note, I also invited all of the Wellness Committee members to be present tonight. And again, due to this very busy time of year and busy schedules, they weren't able. Well, we have two of them here, but Board Member Ross and Board Member Oneto. But
it was great work. I mean, this is great work. I'm really, really happy with it and looking forward to its implementation. So thanks so much, Sean, for your leadership.
Thank you.
All righty. 14.4, application for Amador Adult Education Schools CDS code discussion. Mr. Wagner.
Good evening, Board. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm here this evening for the recommendation for the CDS code for us to become an official school. Amador Adult Education has fallen over the years under the umbrella of educational options, but realistically underneath Independence High School. And the program, as you know in the state, things sunset, they sunrise, they sunset. And this program had sunsetted over the years, and we were not aware that we were not an official school. We fell under the code, and with new FAFSA agreements and college applications, and truly we want to become WASC accredited. So this would be the first step in allowing that process to begin.
Okay, so do we have any questions for Mr. Wagner? Bob?
One of the characteristics of a school is a physical location. Is the physical location going to be a co-location with Independence still?
Yes, it is. And we actually have classes, 2 set classrooms, and we have daily classes.
And I was just curious, with making it own school, are there additional funds that are that the school that, or is it?
No, there is not. But this is another way, because of the WASC accreditation, for us to move forward and eventually in the 3 to 5 year plan become WIOA approved. And then we would also be able to go after federal funds.
Tell us again what WIOA stands for.
Workforce Investment Opportunity Act.
And Mr. Wagner, I was wondering if your school colors are purple and white.
They are. Yes, just by coincidence. Really I walked into her office before we met with Dr. Slavinsky at 7:45 and started laughing, and we went, okay, 16 years working together.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to approve the revision, the
application to go to state.
Okay. So do we have any more questions before we? Okay. No. All right. Does someone want to move?
I'll move that we move forward with applying for a California CDS code. Don't remember what CDS stands for. But anyway, for a CDS school. Go.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Moved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
Thank
Good luck
you.
with that.
Thank you.
Okay, item 14.5, high school graduation requirements revision. Mr. Critchfield.
Thank you. I've been up here before talking about high school graduation requirements, and before I get started, I'd like to thank Kelly Hunkins for her work on this. This snag that has come up is just part of the process as we continue to modernize what we're doing. This overall would be just an interim decision that we would make to our grad requirements. As you know, we are in the process of having a graduation requirements committee that has already met and will continue to meet and do a complete overhaul and recommendation for high school grad requirements. But the basic nature of this issue came about when, for years, we've had a district grad requirement that was 10 credits or 1 year of vocational education. Now, a few years ago, career technical education became the more common term that was being used, and so that was changed in our grad requirements instead of vocational education to career technical education. Now, career technical education has evolved, and this year, as the CalPADS report was being prepared by Michelle Hansen and Kelly Hunkins, the discovery was all of those classes that used to be vocational ed stayed in the grad requirement for career technical education. Many of those classes are not considered career technical education classes. The problem with that is our students took some of those classes under the impression that they were fulfilling a grad requirement. And in order to fix the career technical education side for state compliance, it knocked out some of those kids as not meeting that grad requirement. And that is not something that we would like to see moving forward. And so the recommendation, because this is a district grad requirement, is to have career technical education and vocational education work in concert for a grad requirement until the grad requirements committee comes forward with the complete overhaul. And so in the documentation provided, I did a quick overview of our grad requirements, and as you see near the bottom, 10 credits of career technical education, and the proposal would be similar to the one above it, where right now we currently ask for a year of foreign language or a year of fine art. And so this grad requirement would then read a year of career technical education or a year of vocational education, and we would resurrect all of those vocational ed courses that do not meet career tech ed so that our students don't pay the price for the evolution of what's gone on in the state. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Any questions for Mr. Critchfield? Bob?
Just a trivial clarification question. Where does ag fall?
It depends on the course.
Okay.
So that's, again, this is something that Kelly has spent a ton of time on with Career Tech Ed in getting those courses aligned, and so many things have to do with the teacher's credential, the coursework. You'll see on this list, as an example, Dave Tierpak at Amador, digital art, graphic design, advanced graphic design are considered career technical education, but right now photography is not. And so that is, it's a process, and many districts are going through this, and we will see, I'm sure, more changes to career technical education and the process that goes in there. But we, because this is a district requirement, we just want to catch everything for now until things get sorted out.
Okay, that's great. Any more questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the high school graduation requirements revision.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Moved unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, item 15.0, reports. 15.1, career technical education update. Ms. Hunkins and Mr. Wagner.
Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Kelly Hunkins, and my new assignment is co-principal of Educational Options, which we're really excited about. It's interesting as we get set up and get started. CTE was sprinkled throughout tonight, and as we round this up for you, you're going to see how that circle closes. I mean, in every single thing, the FCCLA girls that were up here, Jared's presentation, which he did a fabulous job really rounding that up for us so we could do CalPADS and let kids graduate. I mean, can you imagine? 4.0, but hey, you didn't get that voc ed, right? It's a great resolution, but CTE, as we're going to talk about it tonight, really is sprinkled throughout this whole evening. And so we just want to spend a few minutes, Butch and I. Butch Wagner is co-principal of Educational Options. He's letting me join him, talking about career technical education and how it's evolved or how it is evolving in Amador County Unified School District. You should have a supplemental handout in front of you. If you could refer to that, we would be grateful. Butch is going to be in charge of the clicker, and we're going to yes, and we're going to go back and forth. So
some of the things we're going to talk about is what is CTE, why the new emphasis on CTE, how is ACUSD transitioning, what does it look like in Amador County, and then any questions that you might have. Okay? All right. So what is CTE? According to the state guidelines, CTE is a program of study which involves a multi-year sequence of courses, and we're going to talk about that. It's at least 2 courses. Most of the time it's 3 courses, an introductory, a concentration, and a capstone course. It has a number of hours that have to be revolve around it, and we're going to get into that a little bit down the road, but it is a multi-year sequence of courses. It integrates core academic knowledge with technical and occupational knowledge, and here's the great thing that CTE did. They did a crosswalk, what we call a crosswalk, which is an alignment of Common Core in math and English and history and science to every CTE pathway that there are, and there are 58 of them. So every time you take those FCCLA girls up here, their teacher, Chef Gadani, she knows what she's teaching them and how it's aligned to the English language arts current Common Core standards. It's amazing what they've done in CTE as we move forward, okay? It also provides students a pathway to post-secondary education and careers. And you'll see as we move through that, and you were involved with, some of the strategic planning that we did in this county, which aligns with this, and super exciting.
It's dead. All right. So the courses, they have to meet CTE standards just like the English language arts, the next generation science standards. We're dealing with, there's going to be 11 anchor standards in each CTE program. Also, they're taught by an appropriate credentialed CTE credential, and as Mr. Critchfield explained, just because you can teach digital art does not mean that you have the CTE credential for photography. So it's very specific, and as we know, the state is going to have to muddy that one out and clear it up for us. It also meets and standards to funded for Carl Perkins. Again, we're looking at extra funding, a way to braid money together. Same thing that we do in our adult ed program, how we can do that to help K-12 grow their CTE program. Again, you're looking at approximately 300 hours in that field and up to 2.5 years working in that. So that's where we're looking there. The hardest thing, again, as we're working through the state is the credentialing aspect. And so the state is working on that very quickly and vigorously because a lot of districts are going through this right now.
So in that credentialing issue, we've worked with Dave's department in Human Resources. Carrie Mack's done a great job being very proactive in what's going on with credentialing, and so I'd just like to, nod that department that is really being proactive in how we can stay in compliant with the state and how it's moving with those credentials. So let's talk about why. What's the new emphasis in CTE, Career Technical Education? Just as a side note for your information, the community colleges, because they always have to be different, whatever, Bob. I'm just kidding. They always have to be different, have now decided to drop the term technical. So now we've gone from voc ed to career technical education. Now the community colleges have decided they want to call it career education. So if you hear that out there, just know that that will eventually probably be our name because we follow what happens above us so that we can align. So right now it's a CTE program, but eventually it'll be a career education program, which makes sense, right? The new emphasis on CTE. If you notice our ACUSD strategic plan, it says, and I quote, "We will increase the number of students successfully completing career technical education," and in parentheses, voc ed. Is that serendipitous or is that just me, right? Like tonight, we had both those on the docket, and college prep courses by 100%. I want to really point out that you all were very smart and very conscientious when you intentionally put career before college, because a lot of times college overshadows that career aspect. And there are districts, Butch and I just read an article from West Virginia yesterday that they did a signing day for kids that went right from career technical education to full funded, high paying jobs as a signing day, like you sign for Seth Tomzak is signing with Arizona State University, right? So now these people are doing signing days for going right into a high paying job. So that's really exciting. And that's how we're moving forward. And the decision that you all made to go career and college, really spot on with where things are going. So nice job. There is also something called a California Dashboard Connection. So you've all heard of the California Dashboard, yes? Let's talk about how that's connected to CTE. It's called the Career and College Readiness Indicator. And one of the, do you have the slide? So you have this handout in your packet that looks like this. And let me just give you a very interesting walk through what the state of California now says, according to the California Dashboard, and what we're expecting of students, who's prepared for career and college and who isn't. If you look all the way over to the right side of this handout that's in front of you, under not prepared, did not meet any of the measurements or did not graduate. So if we have a student who did not graduate, they're obviously not prepared. But what also lives under this red box right here is students that just got a high school diploma. If you get a high school diploma but you don't meet any of these other criteria, you are considered not prepared by the state of California. It's one of the reasons why we're doing a career and college readiness. Did you not have one? I can.
The back. We were just looking for it in the back.
It's bigger back here. That's why I said, look in the back of your thing. Because that one, I was like, what? I can't see it. Yeah, here it is. So not prepared, did not meet any of the measures. So when we're preparing our students, and the Career and College Readiness Committee that is re-looking at all of our graduation requirements, from English to math to science, all the way across the board, we know that according to the Career and College Indicator, the state of California does not consider students prepared if they get out with a high school diploma and none of these other indicators. So let's look at those indicators really quickly. The middle column says approaching prepared. Students who, on the Smarter Balance Summative Assessment, which also we just call the CASP now, right? On the CASP, score of level 2, standard nearly met on both ELA and math. Now, we know that we're also bringing in the CAST, or the science part of that test, so this is probably going to evolve, but currently it's if you get a 2 or standard nearly met on both math and ELA, and you get a high school diploma, you can be considered approaching prepared, okay? If you complete dual enrollment, so dual enrollment is when a high school teacher has the credentials to be considered faculty by a California community college or a California State University, and that means they have a master's in that content subject area. So they can't have a master's in education. They need to have a master's in, for instance, studio art. And then they can teach an art class and get on, and they have to go through the application process and be accepted by that California community college. And we're currently working with Folsom Lake College and Columbia and across a lot of fronts to make sure that we can get our students scaled up to this. That's dual enrollment. So they're earning both college credit and high school credit at the same time. Okay, so under that, it says 1 semester or 2 quarters of college coursework with a grade of C- or better in academic CTE subjects where college credit is awarded. So they have to get that college credit for them to be considered high school diploma, 1 semester, approaching prepared. The third one down, UC CSU A to G requirements. You have to complete an A to G course requirement with a grade of C- or better. That means you have to complete so many math classes, science classes, English classes, history classes, elective classes that are A to G. And part of our, you'll see later, part of our goal is to bring all of our CTE classes up to A to G alignment. Because then a student who's on a college pathway can also take CTE and complete an A to G course pathway, okay? So if they do that, they are approaching prepared. Finally, if they're a CTE pathway student, they have to complete a pathway and they have to be a completer. We call them completers now. So if they've completed those 300 hours, or there's 2.5 years or 3 years more likely, and they do the capstone class, which typically involves an internship with a C- or better, they're in that approaching prepared category. I mean, are you just saying wow to yourself right now? Like, holy cow, like we got some work to do, right? And we're excited about it. So let's look at what happens when they're prepared. Let's move over to that column, because of course we're going to the green column, right? We're not stopping at yellow, we're going green. Smarter Balanced Summative Assessment score of level 3 standard met or higher on both English language arts and math. You get a high school diploma, you get a 3 on both of those, and boom, you are prepared, okay? That's the first way to get in. Second way, advanced placement exams, score of 3 or higher on 2 of them, plus a high school diploma, you're prepared, okay? Completion of dual enrollment, 2 semesters or 3/4 of college coursework with a C- or better in academic or CTE subjects where college credit is awarded. I don't know why they leave PE out of there, but I'm taking that kind of personally. Okay? It's academic or it's CTE though. Those are, you have to know that. It can't be just some elective or, you know, a PE course. It has to be one of those two. University of California and California State University. This is the A to G list. If you haven't heard a lot about the A to G list, you will. When we come back and we talk to you about AVID, when we talk to you about College and Career Ready, the Readiness Committee, we're going to talk to you a lot about A to G requirements and why that's a good thing to talk about for students, okay? You have to complete the A to G course requirements with a grade of C or better, plus one of the additional requirements in the additional criteria box below. Okay, so you can't just do the A to G because we know that makes you approaching prepared. You also have to hit one of those in the box below. I'm going to go to the next one first because it also includes hitting the one block in the box below. A CTE pathway completer plus one of the things in the box below. So you can have an A to G, a CTE pathway completer plus one of the following. Your CASP score or your Smarter Balanced with a 2 in one of math or English and a 3 in the other. So if you're an FCCLA student, you've done a 3-year course of culinary, plus you get a 3 in English and a 2 in math, you're now a completer and you're prepared, okay? It's a lot of different things, but very doable. Number 2, 1 semester or 2/4 of dual enrollment with a C- or better in academics or CTE. So you do your A to G, plus you take a semester of dual enrollment, right? Which kids can also do during the summer, and we can add that to their transcripts. And you get a high school diploma, now you're prepared. Completion of a CTE pathway, score of 3 on 1 AP exam, plus A to G, plus and or CTE, and you're prepared. Completion of a CTE pathway, and notice that that says in the parentheses for A to G requirement only. So if you take the A to G pathway, do you see why it's important now for our CTE classes to have that A to G alignment? So you take an A to G pathway, you also are a completer in CTE, you get a high school diploma, and boom, prepared. Okay? A lot of information. Sorry to throw it all at you, but it's a first look at what we're trying to do with our system to scale up to get our kids prepared. All right? We're going to move on. Yes, we are not prepared. Good one. All right, so let's keep going with the new emphasis on CTE. And here's the really exciting part. When was the last time the state came out with something and, hey, they said, hey, and here's some money that you might be available to get? We got in line and we got some of that money. So funding opportunities. We've always had Carl Perkins grant, and that's about $27,000 for the whole district. It's a lot of oversight and a lot of work, but it's still money, so we go after it. The Ag Incentive Grant or Agricultural Incentive Grant is something that our high schools, and we're looking into how can they get more money. They can get more money by having more meetings, by doing more things, so we're looking at how we scale that up. And a CTIG grant, the Career Technical Education Incentive Grant, it's called the CTIG grant. We applied for this 2 years ago, and we were awarded $350,000. And I think you were board president, right, when that happened? Because it was last year, a year and a half ago. Oh, it might have been Wally. Okay. So it's really, the CTIG is a huge way for us to get some funding, and it is the way we have funded all of our video production at both high schools. Lots of money been spent there. And our next move this year, we got $105,000 just to upgrade our welding at both high schools. And so we're right on the cusp of doing that because we just got that money. But here's the exciting thing. We got in year 2 of a 3-year grant. The next grant's due October of 2018. I think the actual date's October 19th. That's already on my calendar. We've started working on that now because we want to be in on a 3-year cycle. We want to be on year 1. And so we're working on that. The last one is Prop 51. Prop 51 was something that, do you remember when Tim Zerly was here and he talked a lot about Prop 51? Well, it had a caveat to it that also was a CTE piece. And so we heard about it and we got together with Jared and Amy's blessing and said, hey, how can we do this? And Rayanne Gadani, Dr. Bill Murray, before he left, we all sat down and we are in the final stage of being awarded potentially $288,000. We made it through the first round. You needed 143 points and we got 123 and you had to have 105. 141 was the most you could get. We got 123 and the minimum was 105 and we beat out across the state. We beat out many, many, many districts. And so it's a payment of some of the money they're paying to upgrade some of the facilities for CTE. And so we would be excited and we hope we get that money. 288,000 is a lot. So those are funding opportunities. Woo woo, go state, right? I mean, all right, a lot of information. Butch? I'm next? Uh-oh. Okay, so just the next slide is just Voc Ed and ROP to CTE. I just want you to know that Voc Ed started in 1917. Like, come on, 100 years ago? So it's a long overdue overhaul to CTE. And in March of 2008, right before the budget went away, the state board of education adopted the career technical education plan, and then in January 2013 is when we really started seeing things move, and that's when all of the frameworks and standards were adopted in those industries that Butch is going to talk to you about now.
Okay. Please forget. All right. On the next one, I'm going to quickly switch through, and I'm going to take you to the big picture. Because what we're looking at, there are 15 industry sectors. And in Amador County, we have 6 of the 15. We deal with agriculture and natural resources, arts and media, entertainment, fashion and interior design, hospitality, tourism and recreation, information and communication technologies, manufacturing and product development. Also, there are 58 pathways through the 15 big sectors. So what we're looking at here is Amador County is in a spot because of agritourism. We are a tourism area and we are growing in that. Between the wineries, we're right now breaking ground. For some, it's not good news, but they're putting in another casino. So it is happening. We don't have a choice. We have to adapt and we have to grow with it. So there in the sectors, you have everything from arts and media and entertainment. Both campuses are running these programs amazingly. Between the drones, you've seen the video tonight from Argonaut, their green screen. The capabilities, what these kids are doing are just amazing. And the next one is information and communication technologies. So here you see the major sectors, and with each one, you see all the little variations in the down below. And what I'm going to jump to next is Kelly. Oh.
So those sectors that California decided to do are the most highly employable sectors in the state of California. That's why they chose them, and it's really important that we stay on that. And the work that Butch has done in adult ed to align the adult ed side with these CTE pathways is super important for us locally. So that's the adult ed side. The K-12 side is ACUSD transitioning to new understandings. We really are moving towards moving all of our those. A few weeks ago, I came back and had you upgrade some of the courses at Argonaut from when I was there as principal to an A to G alignment for all those courses. Now we're expanding that to the rest of the district, to the rest of the high schools. The California Dashboard, connections to colleges, and credentials. We work really closely now with Dave's department. And then, as you saw with Jared today, local decisions. Okay, so Butch is going to talk about examples of a CTE pathway.
Okay, we talked about how does a student walk through this? So their freshman year, they might be taking an exploration in agriculture. After that, they're going to go into an agriculture biology, and then they're going to follow up with ag soil chemistry. You're building up, you're ramping up with that capstone class, so when you walk out of it, you can have an industry standard certificate in some of these programs, and these students will be able to move on. Thank you.
You're next.
Oh, all right. Right now at Amador, if you look, we have the agriculture and natural resources. And in that, we have 3 programs already going. In the arts, media, entertainment, we are working on the second one is the multimedia production. That one is the closest one. It's coming soon, hopefully as soon as next semester. After that, we are working on developing the hospitality tourism at Amador.
So at Argonaut, they have the following pathways that are fully developed, and if a student does that, plus does an A to G, plus gets a high school diploma, boom, prepared, right? So we have to start thinking that way. How are our students identified as prepared? Agri-science, hospitality, tourism and recreation, information and communication technologies. Just a moment about that. Information, communication, and technologies is very similar to arts, media, and education, and you might be like, why are we doing 2? That's about credentialing, right? One site has a credentialed teacher that fully does this. The other site has a teacher that needs to fall under this credential, so the courses have to follow that pathway, right? And so that's why those are 2 different pathways that are very similar. Okay, manufacturing and product development is really, the pathway is welding and materials joining. So that is our welding program at Argonaut. At Amador, the welding program falls under ag mechanics. Right? Same program, but different credentials, different focuses. Okay?
Okay, I'll cover both these.
Okay,
what we got here over at Independence High School, we are working hard on our hospitality, tourism, recreation, our fashion and interior design. And then at North Star Independent Study, what we're doing and working on that one is our new blended program, where a student is on independent study, but they're able to take guest classes and also be part of that campus where they're coming from to take those. Again, we're going back to credentialing. On independent study, their main teacher is credentialed in English, math, science, and history. Very few have that CTE, and that's what we're working on. And it really gives a student a blended professional working in that on both campuses.
And so the last thing is the future planning. So what can you expect to hear from CTE in the future and ACUSD? Obviously, the Career and College Readiness Committee is going to make a recommendation about how we're going to change what we're doing in our high schools. If that is a recommendation, they're going to come forward with a recommendation. CTE cohorts are meeting every quarter to make these decisions. They're in charge of the decisions about how the money is spent and how that aligns. Implementation of pathways, development of A to G curriculum for each pathway course, not leaving anybody out of those pathways.
All right, and more on future planning with that is we're really working on developing industry certifications. We're also trying to create community and school partnerships to enhance. We are doing that already in adult education through the Adult Workforce Education Alliance. We're bringing in those sectors. We're bringing in those businesses to ask, what do you want? And if we can produce this student, what are you going to do to help hire them? And we're following the model that they're using up in the Lake Tahoe Consortia, using the industry and having them come in, and what they do is give preferential hiring or a pay increase. So it has to matter to the industry. A certificate doesn't mean anything unless somebody wants that certificate and they know what's coming out of it. Again, we have to recruit, certify highly qualified CT teachers, and continue exploring funding opportunities. Questions or comments?
We know it was a lot.
Sorry.
We apologize about that, but And one last thing before we take questions, I just want to commend again HR. We actually got some of our highly qualified CTE teachers because of the work they did on the pay scale to keep them. They're very transient employees because they go from, oh, if you don't have enough enrollment, now your program gets done, or a principal comes in and they change the program. They did a great job to give those people some security, and then we can really build a program. So it really has been a collaborative effort.
I just want to say that this was just a wonderful presentation because I knew sort of surface level about it. And so this is wonderful. I've been wanting to know more about this, and this was perfect. Thank you so much. Really great work. I'm so excited about it. It's wonderful.
I know. It's really, thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry it was so long, but lots to do.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay.
That was a great
Thanks.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else have questions or comments? No?
Awesome.
Yeah, really awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to make a quick comment and extend compliments and thank yous to both Butch and Kelly, as well as all of the teachers that they work very, very closely with around career technical education. As Kelly mentioned earlier in the presentation, there's a direct connect to our strategic plan and the work that was done over a year ago to specifically call out this as a priority and a focus in our school district. And it was happening before, and now it's expanding and being refined, and with a much higher level of teacher collaboration and decision making around how those funds are used. And I just think it, like you said, Susan, it's super exciting. I wish that my own two kids, who are much older now, had had these opportunities because they would have been so much more prepared for the workforce. Very exciting.
Okie dokie. To follow that, 15.2 facilities update. Mr. Critchfield.
Thank you, President Susan, board members, and Superintendent Slavinsky. I really don't know how we're going to follow that presentation. And
I'm ready that way.
Okay. Eloy and I aren't matching either, so I apologize for that.
I wore my Argonaut green.
Thank you. All right, so tonight we'd just like to go over some facilities updates. I am excited because we have some projects that have completed. So that's where I would like to start. Have some visuals for you going along with that. First, we'll start with Argonaut High School, and we have our brand new bleachers that are up and running. Yeah. And our district team did a great job in the preparation work. Eloy was involved in making sure all the DSA inspections were done correctly, went through the process. Our painters even came in and painted some extra green there to make sure that everything just looked the right way. And so, as Mr. Gasway said earlier, they were using it tonight for their parent night, and it's just great to have these new bleachers at Argonaut. And we also have the same situation at Amador, where Amador High also has brand new bleachers as well. And so as we look at what these bleachers have to offer, some of the features that are just fantastic about them, on the sides of the bleachers, and I took a picture from Amador and one from Argonaut. I'm trying to, do a little equality here with my pictures. I was real careful. So they have the same features, just colors are different, right? So as you can see, the side railings, we have before, if you remember the side railings, it was like one bar and, enough for a couple of fully grown people to just fall through on the side, right? And so now we have full railings. A great feature for our maintenance staff is those do not have to be removed because, as you can see, they're kind of slanted. It's a little hard to tell in the picture, but as those bleachers close, they just slide up right next to each other. And so those railings stay in place, and so a maintenance worker doesn't have to haul railings out and put them on, okay? As you can see, Argonaut's picture on the right, we have staircases, and depending on what side of the bleachers and all that, Argonaut has 2 on each side. Amador has 3 on one side and I think 4 on the other. And as you can see, there are also handrails going up the staircases as well. And another nice feature with those handrails is those also do not have to be removed. When they close, and you can kind of see it in the Amador picture there on the left, you can see that the handrails actually just automatically turn and close with the bleachers. And so again, for our maintenance staff, it literally becomes taking the controller, plugging it in the side, and pushing the button, and the whole side comes out at once, saving many of our maintenance workers' backs through the years as they have pulled out bleachers so many times. So we're really excited about that. There are some ADA features as well where sections of the bleachers can actually be manually pushed in. A portion of the front row can be pushed in. Very easy, glide nice and easy, and you can push those in so if someone is in a wheelchair, you would be able to make room for them without them having to feel like they're a burden. You can just slide in the first row and have their wheelchair fit right there. And so anyways, that's just kind of the first phase of tonight is talking about the bleachers. Shifting gears a little bit, I'd like to talk about the Argonaut Culinary Room. Again, this is a direct tie to what we've talked about with CTE, having Chef Guidoni there at Argonaut is just fantastic, and Eloy has really been a big part in making sure that this project is moving forward, and so I'm going to give him a minute or two to update you on where we're at with the culinary project.
Excellent, thank you. Pleasure to be here this evening. All I remember is A to G with CTE. So I will say that I'm a huge advocate for CTE. I visit and work with a lot of schools throughout California with CTE. The ag departments are really big. I'm currently involved in Shasta Union building a net zero ag department. So the culinary arts is truly a really big project for me, and I'm excited to get this done. So as you can see, we've finished all of the plumbing underneath the subfloor has been completed. We are now topped out above the subfloor with all of our water, plumbing, and natural gas. We are in our rough-in stages now with the office, the laundry, and the scullery room. So we have all of our components and parts coming from the interior starting next week Friday. Will start to arrive. Friday of this week, we have our ventilation equipment arriving for the top of the main building, which are called the makeup air units, and the interior, which have the stainless steel hood units for the ventilation portion.
Also, a couple other things to add as they went through the plumbing. You know, with an older classroom like this that's used, some of the sewer lines were 80-90% blocked with grease and other things.
All I'm trying to do.
And so it's great to see how we're adapting to that, and there will be grease traps and a grease pit even, right, that we'll be able to, so we don't run into those issues in the future. The amount of stainless steel that will be going in, just the cleanliness, those ventilation units are no joke. They're going to be fantastic in making sure that we circulate the air properly and the hood vents and everything that goes with that. And there have been a lot of modifications needed from the original plans once we opened up the ceiling. The way the roof supports are and everything was much different than originally anticipated, and so Eloy's been a part of that to make sure that everything is done the right way.
Yeah, since we started the building's more than 20 years old, and what we discovered were there was a lot of inconsistencies in the building drawings that were submitted originally. So it was a little bit of a surprise, but we worked through it and were able to get progress done quickly. We have found it in the building. There was some building remediation with water that was entering underneath the building as a raised foundation, so we also corrected that during that same period. So it was like having a clogged artery with the plumbing.
No doubt. Okay, and so on to that, our Argonaut Track project has begun. They have been out there and they are staking off their areas for excavation, and we will be meeting with them Monday morning first thing to go over the proposed D-zone work and other things to make sure that the project moves forward. We already have a plan in place for graduation to make sure that it does not look like a construction zone. The track will not be completed until this summer, but we anticipate that it will be done before the start of the school year. And so we will have further updates at future meetings as that project progresses. We'd also like to give you a quick update on Optera or Engie, whichever company is more familiar to you. So what we'd like to say is the best news of all, our Argonaut High canopies in the parking lot are online, and we have been recouping the benefits from that as we've had these sunny days, and we're beginning to offset the utility expenses at Argonaut High School with the solar there. We have scheduled for this coming Friday, is it this Friday or next?
Third and fourth.
Okay, the 3rd and 4th. So next Friday will be the inspections and going through the process for the solar farm at the back of Argonaut High School. And we anticipate that the following week, so Monday the 7th, hopefully that Monday the 7th or Tuesday the 8th of May, that solar farm will be online as well. And we will begin to recoup the benefits from that. So that's great news. Also, I would like to thank the board for the last time Optera was here in applying some healthy pressure in what is needed to complete Amador High School. Things have been moving along very quickly, and so we are in the process, and they're moving along. There's no other way to say it, and so we're very happy with how that's progressing, and they're working on the ground mount. They're going to be starting the boring very soon.
Yes, we have our utility pad poured and completed. The rack for the inverters have been completed. The equipment will be arriving on Friday, and we're preparing to start our bores immediately. And we're also working and preparing for the track meet.
Yes, Amador is hosting the league meet this year, and so there will be that construction going on. And so Eloy was out there today meeting with athletic director and principal and campus supervisor to make sure that when the track meet goes on, that's May 8th through 10th, that they will have it set up in a way that they can still host the meet, because that's a big deal for when you're when it's your turn to host the league meet. Any questions or comments on any of those projects?
Yes, I would like to know if it's possible for us to have a grand opening of the track when it's ready.
Absolutely. I think that would be a great idea for the stadium. This is not on the list of things tonight, but Argonaut High School went through extensive efforts and fundraised for a video scoreboard that I'm sure you've heard about. And you saw in the donations tonight, that was from most of that from the Big Red Barn fundraiser, and so many amazing people in the community donating. So we've been working with Mr. Hunkins on that. And so we're hoping that all of those things we can get through, and we can just kind of have a grand opening of the stadium where we have the new track, the new video board, and all of those things.
I think the board should take the first lap. What do you think?
That might be after culinary arts.
Okay, any other questions?
I just had a question regarding although they look amazing, how many seats were lost at Argonaut with the new?
I'd have to look at the plans. I mean, we've talked about what we can do in the big game situation to mitigate that, but I believe it's around 150 seats.
So I have heard that if they did like a rally or something, that the entire student body can't actually even sit in there. Is that true?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to the school about that.
No, they look wonderful. There's just a significant decrease in seating for sure.
Correct.
I just want to say I'm so happy with the bleachers because I felt like I was going to fall right through them.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
It is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Critchfield.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Eloy, as well.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 15.3, reports and remarks from board members. Janet? Okay, Bob? Rosie? No, I'm through as well. So, report from superintendent.
Yes, I have just a few things that I want to mention. Since our last board meeting, I've had 3 really important learning opportunities, sessions that have occurred. On April 12th was our second SALT meeting. As you know, that's a new group that started midway through the year this year, SALT standing for Superintendent's Advocacy Leadership Team. It's a cross-section of stakeholders from throughout the community, staff members, community members, parents, students. And this was our second meeting. And at our first meeting, yes, Susan was there. At our first meeting, towards the end, I asked the group to brainstorm what might be topics of interest that they would like to have us discuss, bring information, give them the opportunity for discussion at future meetings, and then to prioritize them. And so this second meeting was a topic that they chose and prioritized around student safety, school safety. And so Sean Snyder and myself basically brought to them the same board report that we had brought to you a month or so ago, but we changed it up a little bit because early on in the meeting we got feedback that said that they really didn't want this SALT meeting to be a time where they were being talked at, but rather a time for them to be so much more interactive. So we shared a little bit of information and then had them get into small groups and talk and think and ask questions and kind of push back and then share out. And then we shared a little bit more information and then did that interactive piece again and then shared a little bit more information, did that interactive piece again. And I think we had allocated maybe 30 or 40 minutes of the 90-minute meeting, and it ended up taking almost the entire meeting, but it was so powerful and so productive, and there was so much exchange of ideas and dialogue. I went away with a checklist of about 9 or 10 things to follow up with, and I know that Sean did as well. And it was just tremendous feedback from the community at large. And I went away from that meeting thinking that's exactly what the purpose of this group is. And so I just wanted to be able to share that with you. And Susan, since you were there, I don't know if you have any comments specifically about that or anything that you might want to add.
Well, I just thought it was great, and some folks sitting in the back there were also there at the
Yes.
SALT meeting. They were part of my team, my dialogue team. But I just wish that more people attended, because it's so great and such good information, and lots of the teachers that come said, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I didn't know about this. And it was just great. It was just fantastic. It was very, very productive. I agree.
It was just a great sharing of information. Another piece of feedback that came from the group was it sure would be great if there were more parents who came. And then we had a couple of staff members say, well, I wear 2 or 3 hats. I'm a parent of students who are currently in the schools too. And so I asked for a show of hands, and there were about maybe 25 people there altogether, something like that. And so I asked for a show of hands, how many of you currently have students in our schools? And I'd say 75% or more raised their hands. So it was, again, I think a really good cross-section. I'm looking forward to the next meeting in May. The topic that they've chosen next is not STEM, but STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So we're going to bring some information in a collaborative way and, again, have that great opportunity for give and take and dialogue and sharing of ideas. So that was just a really big highlight for me for the month of April. And then a couple of other quicker ones. April 14th, I had the opportunity to go to the Amador chapter of AAUW, their event, Association of American University Women. They were recognizing I think it was 5 or 6 junior high students from our schools who were selected to attend the summer Tech Trek event that goes on every summer. But they changed it up and did it a little bit differently this year. Instead of doing it in the fall, they waited to the spring and had the new students who are about to attend, who are just selected, as well as last year's students who attended the camp. And so it was just a great time for the slightly older students to share their experiences with the slightly younger students and then eat pizza and have a good time. And I was there just to congratulate people and give a brief STEM update on what's going on in the district. So that was a lot of fun. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was that at our regularly scheduled principals meeting last week, we had our second follow-up meeting with the Sacramento County Office of Education experts who are helping us with differentiated technical assistance, because as a district we've been identified to pay more, not pay more attention, but to look at root causes and do a deeper dive with data around students with disabilities related to English language arts, math, and suspension rate. And so they led us through a couple of different protocols to help us with that. And in anticipation of that really important work, we invited additional people to be there. So we had some psychologists, some counselors. Mitzi's been very actively involved in this, as I have and Sean has. And then also some teacher leaders, gen ed and special education teacher leaders. So it was a slightly larger audience. And we will be continuing the use of those tools in the next 2 principals meetings during the month of May also. So it's great work, and I anticipate that we'll bring a more formal report to the board at some point in the future about what's happening with that and what is the outcome of that technical assistance process. So that's all I wanted to share with you for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The next meeting will be Wednesday, May 9th, and I call the meeting adjourned. 5-minute break to the county office meeting.
Oh, you're cracking me up.
Alrighty then. I'm going to call to order the Amador County Office of Education, Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, there is a correction to the agenda. If you look at item 9.0, future meetings, there are not any topics listed. That is not because we don't have anything to talk about or report on. It's we were having technical difficulties at the end of last week, as I shared with you. And so in those spots, if you want to handwrite them in, we'll make sure that they're on future agendas. We will have a County Office of Education facilities update. We will also have an end-of-the-year report for special education. And we will also have Shenandoah Valley Charter School charter petition and LCAP to be presented to the County Board of Education. There probably will be more, but at least those three. I apologize for the correction.
No worries. So do we want to, I move that we accept the addition, the correction to the agenda. Discussion?
I have a question about that since you're putting on the future items. I believe at last meeting, a workability presentation was on the future items. No longer on a future items or?
No, you're correct. A workability report would be on future items for the fall. And speaking with Mitzi, we would not have up-to-date data or any new information to share with the board from the previous report that was done on workability at about this time last year. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that at all, Mitzi.
Yes, so June 15th is our reporting date. We report all of our data to the state, and it's also a written report that we do. And so once we report that information, it will get compiled, and we can report it out at the beginning of the school year. Otherwise, if I do a report on workability, the data, what we've done in workability, and the number of students we've served, and all of those things, it will be the same data because it's once a year that data is compiled. So it's actually a better agenda item for maybe September of every school year to hear about workability and what we accomplished the previous year.
Makes sense. Just kind of was wondering if it got lost. When that report is filed, could it be shared with the board? Sure. Thank you.
Great. I think we have a motion on the floor, so if there are any more discussion or comments. Okay. All in favor of the change in the agenda? Aye. Okay. Approved unanimously. Right. Then we'll go to public comments. Mr. in the blue shirt, do you have a comment? No. No comment? Okay. Mark. Mark. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see you sitting there. It's wonderful to see a friendly face. So, so we're just going to skip over that, and we're going to move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Board report from superintendent, item 8.0.
Just briefly, I would like to let you know that I did attend the CSESA quarterly meeting this current week. It started Sunday morning and continued all day Monday and part of Tuesday. I was back in the county Tuesday afternoon, and there were some very important updates from the California Department of Education and from the other county superintendents. But specifically, I had several key takeaways. I had the opportunity Sunday morning to sit as an observer as in the FCMAT Board of Directors meeting. And you probably all recall that FCMAT stands for Fiscal Crisis Management and Assistance Team. And following the meeting, I had a great conversation with the Executive Director, Michael Fine, and we'll potentially have more information to share with you about that in the future. And then also there was a lot of discussion, once again, around differentiated technical assistance and sharing from all the different county superintendents about how it's going in their respective counties and their school districts that they work with. And that was helpful. And then on the last day, Tuesday, social emotional learning was a huge focus. And there there was a person there from West Ed and from the Sacramento County Office of Education, Brian Malacote, who led the whole group in about a 60-minute session on better understanding the new social emotional learning framework that is coming from the California Department of Education and work that is happening in the different counties around the state. And it was great because I was able to really brag and boast about the great work that we're doing here in Amador County with all the different actions and services that we've put into place to support SEL, social emotional learning. So that was exciting, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, that's terrific. 8.2, reports and remarks from board members. Bob?
A question came up, having seen the KVGC person out of the room when we restarted. Are we still making audio recordings?
Since Scott Nolan is not here, I'll talk about that. He worked with the technology department here, and so what we're actually doing now is we're tapped into their system. You can see it on the screen now that everything is tapped into the sound system here, and we're making audio recordings still being posted to the district.
Great. And so it restarted when we started the Office of Education meeting, even though he wasn't.
Correct. You can see we're at 6 minutes and 35 seconds right now in the meeting.
That makes sense. Great. Since he had just popped in, I thought that was him starting it back up.
No, true. Good question. Good job, Terry. Okay. Any comments from board members? Reports? No? All right. We covered 9.0 already. So the next meeting is Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. And this Office of Education meeting is now adjourned. And the superintendent would like to meet with us in closed session for a minute.